Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 26 of the Red Sea podcast, the show where not only the team has problems, but me too. There hasn't been a show, I think, where I haven't dealt with some sort of technical issue, but hopefully we'll get that fixed. Something that will probably not get fixed in the near future is this fucking team.
It was.
Anything to say for a start?
I mean, I obviously wasn't on after the Aris game. I was really disappointed with how we did on the weekend today. I mean, I feel like it's really harsh to say that we played badly. I think overall it was a decently solid performance. I think that the effort was definitely there. I think there were a couple players, namely El Kabi and Yaremchuk, who really let the team down. But pretty much everyone else, I mean, Lyon is just, as we saw today, that is an insane attack. You and I were talking about it in the messages. The fact that you have Wilfred Zaha and George Mikotadze and all these guys off the bench, their third choice striker would probably start for us. I mean, it's ridiculous. So it's a tough one. I honestly, I'm really not that upset with the team or the performance. I think against the rest of the opposition we're going to face, we'll probably do a lot better. I think this is definitely our toughest fixture in Europa League this season. So, I'm not entirely discouraged by it, but it stings. It's a disappointing loss for sure.
I'd argue that Orban starts for half of Gotham Europe, not just us. And him being a third choice anywhere is insane. But as we saw, as you said, and as we did talk about, Lyon's attack is terrifying. Uh, Even before today, I honestly wouldn't have. Perhaps I underestimated Lyon a bit because I wouldn't say I would go out and say that Porto will be our toughest match. And we saw Porto get destroyed by Bodo Glimt, by a 10-man Bodo Glimt at that. So I would agree now that Lyon is the toughest of the eight. And to dive immediately straight into it with a problem I have with this team, with the main problem, one of the main problems I have with this team is this.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was some genuine positives with the lineup today and the different formation. I really liked the back line. I thought all three, Pirola, Retsos, and Carmo, were
I
fantastic.
really hope Pirola is okay. I really hope Pirola is okay.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is if for whatever reason he is injured, I feel like we do have a decent amount of depth at center back, and we could always go back to the two back. Um,
He is injured. He got subbed out because he was hurt.
yeah, but I mean, we'll see if it's anything serious that would keep him out long term. Um, I do definitely agree. I think part of the problem that we saw today with the creativity going forward is having El Kabi and Yaramchuk together with no wingers around them doesn't work. I mean, El Kabi, he still looks so rusty. I'm starting to get kind of concerned about him. Yaremchuk, we knew that he wasn't going to come in and be a pacey forward who can stretch the field, right? He's more of that target forward type. Still have issues with his performance. I don't think he's been great for us so far, but for the role he was being asked to fulfill today, I don't think he was a good fit for it, and I don't necessarily blame him for that. Um, I think part of it is that setup. I think having wingers would have helped. I think we did look a lot more dangerous once Willian came on. I thought again he looked positive. He's going to integrate into the team more. I think he can fill that creative role that we need. Um, but it's just tough. I mean, I think having three center midfielders really hampered us. None of them played poorly, but it just then getting up the field. It takes a lot out of those guys, and you could tell at the end they were just gassed because all throughout the game, Chiquinho had said Garcia, they were trying to make runs forward, and then you have to run all the way back because you're playing in center mid rather than being a more advanced player. So I think part of it is needing a 10. And I think part of it too is just the formation today wasn't conducive to mendilibar's play style, which is pressing and playing on the front foot. We struggled to do that because of how we were set up.
I am gonna build off the point you just finished on because that's mostly what I wanted to say. I hadn't really thought about it, but I also saw it on Twitter just before we both hopped on here. It's a crime to play a player like Chiquinho at the 10. It's misusing him. It's like playing Doi at the center back. It's like cutting half of his talent down for no reason at all. Absolutely no reason. And about Yaremchuk and El Kabi, I'd argue that it's not only Willian, because for me, Willian was, this wasn't one of his best few with us, but either El Kabi and Kostulas or Yaremchuk and Kostulas should be it for me because they complement each other so perfectly. El Kabi and Yaremchuk, they're not exactly the same type of player, but they're both target forwards. If that makes more sense.
Yeah, I mean,
That
sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
go.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, I feel like both of those guys, we have to remember, Mendilibar's strategy and what worked so well for us last season was having that high press. And when you have the two of them together, it doesn't work. El Kabi can work fine as the center forward if he has two wingers around him like we had last season. That works. But just the two of them, it was too narrow. They're not quick enough to really be able to, from the two center forward spots, stretch the defense and really put pressure on the center backs of the goalkeeper. And I think that was really, talking about Lyon and us underestimating them. You know, I don't think we really attacked their weaknesses enough today. And I think one of their major weaknesses is the two center backs and the goalkeeper. And we almost saw it. Again, I think it was bullshit offside call. He's offside by his ass hair. I mean, come on, dude. But they almost gave us a goal. Patty looked very shaky all game. The own goalkeeper. He made the one good save off of, well, two good saves. He made the save off Rodine in the first half, and then the chance that Yaremchuk missed. I think part of that was it was a very good save from the goalkeeper. Still should have scored, but can't take anything away from him. Um, I I don't think we did enough to put pressure on them. It was too comfortable. And the one time that they fell asleep, again, it got called back for the offsides, but it created our best chance probably. So I think, like you said, Kostulas, and we can probably talk about him for a couple minutes. He needs to play more. He's ready. I mean, I think that's been our main concern with a lot of these younger guys is will they be able to slot in, especially in these high pressure games. He immediate difference when he came on, and he was super unlucky not to score a fucking bicycle kick with his first touch. I mean, come on, like I need to see more. I'm ready. He's ready.
To build off the point again, I think the play that shows how unfitting El Gabi and Yaremchuk are was our main chance where Yaremchuk shot hit off El Gabi and then went to the Lyon keeper and then the scuffle happened and the ball just fucked off. Uh, but yes, as you said, Kostulas is so ready. He's so ready. He fits. For me, that's why I told you as well. I'd love to say if Pirola, of course, is okay. I'd love to see the 3-5-2 with El Capi and Costulas up front because, in my opinion, they fit so perfectly together. Because El Capi just showed back up again with Costulas next to him. El Capi, for me, he did fight today. He did try to create. He did try to do things that he normally can't because there was no one else to do them. Uh, for me, Yaremchuk was the weak link of the attacks today. That's why I'm saying that I'd much prefer to give Kostulas this chance. Another person I'd much prefer to see, and I don't know why, is Musakitis.
I understand. I understand what you're saying, and I think I understand why he didn't play. I think for the match we were playing, the opponent we were playing, it would have been throwing him into the fire, I think, to put him into this match. Not that I don't think he's good or that, anything like that, but your first European match playing against a team that was playing the way Lyon was, I mean, just bombing forward, you're kind of putting him in a rough spot. So to me, like, I'm personally okay with Musakidis not playing today. I would have loved to see it, obviously, but I can understand the reasoning there. Kostulas at striker, right? If he steps a foot wrong or makes a mistake, it's probably not going to kill the team. Whereas, Musakidis playing in the middle, yeah, you're asking a lot of him, and if he just makes a young guy mistake, I mean, it could lead to a goal, and that could really impact his confidence and just when it comes to integrating young players like that, I tend to want to be more conservative. I think giving him more time in the Super League, I think giving him more time against some of the other teams we'll be playing in Europe that might not be as aggressive probably is a better way to start integrating him. But I see both sides of it. I mean, I think at a certain point you probably could have thrown him on like 85 because Lyon weren't really trying. But it is what it is. I can see both sides of that coin.
This may honestly just be more me trying to keep my own mindset and not follow the usual Greek mindset with just killing young players off of one or two mistakes. But I'd much rather see the mistakes that happened in the midfield today from someone like Musakidis, other than no offense or hate to him, because I actually didn't really hate his performance today as many people did. But I'd much rather see those mistakes from Musakidis than a 32, 33-year-old Bati Garcia. Like,
I don't. I mean, I yes, but at the same time, I mean, think about it this way. I mean, he's a teenager, right? I mean, you and I are both pretty close to being that age. When you make a mistake and you're young and you're trying to,
I am his age.
he's 20. I thought he was younger. Maybe I have things mixed up.
May, let me see.
I'm pretty sure he's 18, maybe 19. But regardless, right? You know, confidence and being
Fuck me, he's 17. Never mind.
I thought he was younger. I mean, it's a very formative time for a person and an athlete, right? I mean, you throw him on and he makes a bad mistake that could genuinely set him down a path that could impact his development. That's why again, I think it was the game we were playing. I don't think it would have been a good time to put him in. Um, Speaking on Danny Garcia, I mean, like you said, I don't think he was bad at all today. He, granted, I wouldn't say he was like a 7 or 8. He was probably like a 6, 6.5. But
He's
solid.
not in the physical condition to be a 7 or an 8
No,
yet.
and I mean, I think again, with a lot of these guys, it might take some time to just get up to speed. Which is why, again, I'm not super concerned or like upset with the performance because we're so early in the season, and some of these guys are coming back from injuries. Getting up to match fitness because you have the international break, and guys like him don't play in that time period. So, it's one of those things. After this match, I'm a lot more forgiving than I was after Addis because I feel like we were awful on Saturday. Today,
No,
I think
it doesn't even compare to the week.
no, I mean I think if we had I think Lyon deserved to win. I'll come out and say that they were very good going forward. And as I touched on earlier, I don't think we really, squeezed them on their weaknesses, which is the defense. But had we come away with like a draw or something, right? I don't think it would have been an unjustified result either. I mean, that's just kind of what it comes down to. What's the pause? I still think 5. I had us when I did that whole table. I had us losing to Lyon. So I before all this, I expected to lose this match.
Yeah, I was the positive one.
Yeah.
I'll
I was
I'll
feeling
I'll
positive.
quietly drop down to 5 as well.
I mean, you look at the rest of the games they're playing. We have Braga next. They struggled against Maccabi today. They needed
Didn't
two.
they lose?
No, they won.
Ah, they turned it around.
Yeah, so they scored 2 stoppage time goals. Maccabi finished with 9 players. It was a home match for Braga. I mean, the fact that was even a difficult game for them kind of says something. It was our old guy Bruma who scored both of the goals. We have them at home next week. I think pretty much until we get to Porto, very winnable matches all around. So I still, again, after this result, I don't feel any sort of negativity about our prospects or our chances of advancing or even making it top 8. I still think all that is totally on the cards, because I don't think we were bad today. We could have definitely been better, but I don't think we were bad. I forgot that he's managing over there now.
You cannot forget that. You can never forget that. It will be the first time he sees packed Karaiskakis also.
It's insane. I mean, him coming back, Andre Hocha will be coming back. He'll be getting a much warmer welcome.
That's an actual comeback that I am anticipating.
Yeah. I still think 5. I still think 5 is totally doable. If we want to be conservative, 4. I mean, out of all the rest of the games we have, I would say Porto away is our only really, really difficult match. I think everything else is more than within our capability to win, or at least get draws. So I'm not really worried. I don't know about you, where you stand now after all this. This game really did not discourage me too much at all.
I think 4 is the worst case scenario. I honestly think 4 is the worst case scenario. It honestly, today's Europa League and yesterday's games, of course, mostly threw me off for the standings in general, because there is some wins. Like, I didn't expect PAOK to get absolutely demolished.
The score line looked bad. I thought that was a little harsh on them as well. I thought PAOK played okay. They did better than I expected they would.
They had the opposite problem we did. They were horrible defensively. They have no. Kedziora isn't a center.
Except
Neither is Coley.
Coley, though, to be fair, he had Osimhen in hell for about an hour. I thought he was very good, but Johnny was a mess. Kedziora, like you said, out of position, and then Baba. I mean,
he got unlucky, honestly.
Yeah, he did. He was much better going forward, though. I think because he's more of that, he's like Rodinei for us. He's more of an attacking player than a defensive player, even plays in the back line. But I think, to your point, this competition is very competitive. I mean, very few of these games have been blowouts or super convinced. That didn't surprise me, if I'm honest. I think that Twente at home is going to be a difficult match. I think that, especially defensively and with their goalkeeper, they've got some talent. I still think we can beat them, but that didn't surprise me. It's United. United are
it's United, yeah, but still, it is something you have to give props to.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Twente were very good. I mean, all around, I think it's a very competitive competition, and I think that's just partially due to this new format, which I think, from what we've seen to start with, I kind of like it. I mean, I think it makes everything a lot more competitive, unless you get an easy group and you can breeze through. I think this is more.
It's been more entertaining for us in the Europa League. The Champions League has been very. I just saw that we conceded 17 shots today.
A lot of those were, to be fair, Lyon were kind of having hits from everywhere. There were a few really good chances. I think that
Jolaki still saved 7.
I know. I mean, that one save he had before we conceded, it was 2 minutes before we conceded. He came out. It was a one-on-one. Comes out
with Lacazette. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 17. I think a lot of those probably came from outside the box and were pretty audacious. They probably had 5 or 6 really good opportunities to score. But yeah,
1.25 expected.
that's
That's what I can say. Yeah.
that makes sense. I mean, I think a lot of those it's like people on Ultimate Team who will shoot from 30 yards to make their stats look good. I mean, I think a lot of those shots were not really threats, but I mean, they were very good going forward. I mean, you can't argue with it. The talent they have is ridiculous.
We can, well, not finish off, but start closing down with someone who we surprisingly didn't talk about, and that's the amazing performance that Rachel had.
I
And
mean,
while you talk, I do want to quote your tweet. I really need to find that. So go on, then I'll find.
well, I was going to start with that. The blunt force trauma concussion he had in the final and didn't come off the field, but then played like Maldini or Van Dyke. I mean, genuinely, he looks like a Rolls Royce defender now. After all of last season, I was kind of complaining about the fact that he had a stupid mistake every game. That's what I was telling you I didn't want to say before the game ended. Is apparently that hit knocked the Malakias out of him, because since
Yeah,
then,
fucking 85-minute penalties every two
yeah, I
games.
mean, he literally did not step a foot wrong today in his first match of the season, the first competitive game he's played since May. We're in almost October now, and he genuinely, I mean, even the commentator here in the States mentioned this, towards the end of the game when he came off. He's like, probably the only guy on the pitch who doesn't deserve to be down 2-0 right now. And genuinely, he was fantastic. If he plays like this for the rest of the season, oh my God, we might be we might be going places. But he was incredible. What a performance! Really harsh on him. Um, you know, wearing the armband, he looked every bit the leader that we needed at the back.
Another guy that was very good that may have killed it, but he was as good as it gets, honestly, is Ndoye. Like I have to give my shouts to Ndoye as well, who looks more and more improved, honestly, at
Yeah,
least in my opinion.
he didn't have. I mean, he only played towards the end, so he didn't have a crazy amount to do. But there were a couple opportunities as Lyon were trying to close the game out where he did step in and make some good interventions. Um, Again, he's a great guy to have in the rotation, whether it's starting when needed or coming off the bench. I mean, you know, he's still only 20. I mean, that's just the crazy thing. He's going to continue to improve
That's the thing people forget.
because he's been around for 3 years. I mean, you assume that he's like 23, 24, but no, this guy's barely not a teenager.
I told you this. I said this publicly, but I will that mix my opinion and yours mostly. That it does need to be adjusted a little bit with wingers, like you said. But I would honestly stick with that back three because it both saves a lot of chances, as we saw. They, especially switching covers, the basketball in me comes out a bit, but they were literally man marking at the end and switching players like flawlessly, which is insane for a European game against players like Lacazette, Fofana, and whoever else was on Zaha. But it also covers the Ortega fuck ups, as I called them today.
Well, and here's an idea that just kind of came to me. What if we play a four back when we're defending with Retsos at right back, but in possession it turns into a three back with Ortega pushing up, and that way we could keep Rodinei on as a winger or as a wide mid. That could potentially be an option too. I think there's something there. I don't think that the 3-5-2 that we saw today is probably going to feature for us again, just because I don't think that it fits the type of press.
Today was an emergency. That's
Exactly.
why.
Exactly. And again, that's another reason why I'm not really going to be reactionary to the results or anyone's individual performance. I do think there's something there, though. I don't think anyone would have really anticipated how good that back three looked, especially with Retsos being no fitness, no anything, incredible. So I think there's something there. I think it's something I would like to see us use, but we just need to figure out how to make it work with the press, because I don't think we should go away from playing pressing football. That's what worked for us last season. That's what took us to the Conference League crown. Uh, I want to still see that stay. So I think Mendilibar, he'll figure it out. If he really liked what he saw, he'll tweak it to make it work. But it's good to know that we can put in a performance playing like
that
that,
it
even when the
works.
personnel isn't there, right? Imagine if we had a full team today. Imagine if we had, Masuras. Imagine if,
A 3-5-2 with Masuras where Yaremchuk was would be amazing.
yeah. I mean, and then you could have, whoever's on the left side pop out as an extra winger when we're, pushing forward. I do think that when healthy, this could be something that works for us. So it'll be interesting to see. I think we'll probably try to stick with the four back when we are healthy, but it's an option, and it's good to know that we have other options that can work for us.
I also, well, this has become a bit of a conflicting opinion, but I also liked Velde off the bench more than
Well,
when he started recently, at least.
well, he brings a lot of like he's a big energy, up and down pace kind of player, and I think part of what we see when he starts is he tends to kind of burn out around an hour mark and kind of fall away as far as performance. Bringing him on for a good 30 minutes or a good 20 minutes, um, you know, running at defenders on tired legs. That's what he's best at, getting those ball on the outside and cutting in quickly. That could be a good role for him. And I think once Masuras is healthy, we'll probably see more of him and Willian than Velde or, whoever else. But I agree. I think that would be a good role for him. And I think when we're healthy, that probably will be where he is.
Also, Zelson needs to be, not because I like Zelson way more than I even like Velde. I've told you this, I've said this. Zelson is one of my favorite players on the team right now, and that comes quality wise as well. But he needs to stay on the bench a bit because he'll get burned out. It's a player with an insane injury history. He'll get burned out eventually. I'm also not really liking which it is to be expected. You've talked about it more than I have, but the SL looks dead.
I think it's it's like the meme from a few years ago with Gavi playing in
He's
the
exhausted.
he's
Jeez.
had no break. I think hopefully with some of these easier league matches we have, he gets a rest. Um, because he wasn't bad today, but he definitely wasn't putting his fingerprints on the match as much as much as we're used to him doing, especially last season. So I think again, once we have more guys come back, we'll probably see more of that rotation. I think, and this is my unpopular opinion, I don't think Stamenic is bad. I think even today he came on and had a couple good moments where he's trying to push the play forward, especially in the league. Start him over Hetze, especially when we have these Europa games on the Thursdays. Give him a rest. I think Stamenic, I think Dani Garcia, they can play. They're not our first options, but they can play. Don't be starting him in the league. We also have Oliveira now and Unas, who hasn't been announced yet, but Fabrizio called it, so it probably will happen.
He is supposed to arrive to Greece in, like, I think it was gonna be like an hour ago, too.
I mean, he's not going to be registered for the European list. Was Oliveira, I think I saw him today, so I think he is on the European list.
He is, yes.
But those are guys that should be, especially when we have games midweek, they need to be covering the league because those are guys that are good enough for that level. If we had a fresh Edzet today, chances are the midfield might have looked a lot better. But he's playing a ton of football right now. I do think that as we integrate some of those new guys, as we get guys back from injury, we'll start to see more of that squad rotation. But he needs a break. He needs to go sleep for 12 hours or something because he looks dead.
I'll still insist with the thing I've been insisting on since we won the Youth League. The rotation is another chance to induct the young guys into the team more, especially Mouzakitis and Bakulas. Because, okay, Kostulas, as we saw today, he can perform just fine in the European games as well, but especially Mouzakitis and Bakulas, who with even a little bit of game time can run games, like games against Olympiacos, for example. Not gonna say Atromitos because they are. Won't say I'm worried because I'm not worried about Atromitos, but they're not the easiest of teams this year. But teams like Panserikos, Levadiakos, and stuff like that, I don't see why they can't even, if not start, play at
Yeah.
least.
No,
I
I mean,
really can't say that.
I think we have a lot of options for rotation in the middle, so I hope we start to see more of that for I'd say Chiquinho as well. I mean, he looked fine today. He hasn't looked tired to me at all this season, but he's probably going to get there. He's only human. Um, so I think that's part of it too. I'm hoping we'll see a lot of rotation on the weekend, so that next Thursday we can just blitz Braga because after a couple disappointing results, you really do need that pickup, and that's a good opportunity.
I do hope to go to that match. I will keep everyone updated on that. Because if I do go, of course, another vlog is going to be up. Uh, I do want to finish off slowly because it is also 1 a.m. here. Uh, I do want to finish off slowly with two runs that I do want your opinion on, of course, even though I'm pretty sure we both agree fully. I I think that's a bit unpopular, but I don't think Jolakis was at fault for either goal today.
Not at all.
People are saying that he was slightly at least at fault for the second one. I really can't see anyone in Jolakis' standards because again, same with Doi. Jolakis is 21. He's not an experienced keeper. He is 21. I really can't see anyone saving that.
Well, he almost did. I mean, it was his positioning a little bit off. He definitely did leave a lot of space on his near post. Whatever, he was coming out. It was a broken play. The defense didn't really do him any favors on that occasion. I think that was the one time all game that the back line kind of fell asleep. Um, but he
That
got it.
and the Lacazette one-on-one, and he saved.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, he still got a hand on the second goal. I mean, it's not like it completely beat him, right? He was there. He almost made the save. So I agree. I mean, I had a lot of people kind of because right before they scored
I
the two
saw
goals,
that.
people have been hopping on my back the past couple days because I'll say something. I forget what it was yesterday. I said that Kostas was bad yesterday, and he was. But he scores an open net tap, and everyone's like, "Oh, ho, ho. Gav's an idiot." I'm like, he should have had another goal, and he should have assisted right before that, but he fucked both up. I mean, watch the actual game. I mean, that's the thing. Anybody who watches today's game, no blame goes to Tsolakis or really the defense. I mean, they had one or two breakdowns against a team that was consistent onslaught. Again, these guys are people; they're not machines. Like there's going to be little lapses and mistakes. I don't fault them for that happening from time to time. I disagree with any criticism that Solakis is getting. If we had a worse keeper, if we had trying to think of some of the shit keepers we've had in the past.
Paschalakis is conceding three today.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I don't even think he's bad. I used to hate him, but
He,
I don't.
he's not, but he's conceding three.
Imagine if we had fucking Leali. He is my least favorite Olympiacos goalkeeper of all time. I was trying to think of the name. That guy conceded 7 today. I mean, genuinely, I said that to somebody on Twitter. Like, if we were a worse team, we would have lost that game by 5 or 6. I mean,
I can bring you to someone that played for us way more recently. Like in Vaclik concedes 5 today.
yeah. The reason I don't go to I thought of him, but I don't think he was an overall terrible goalkeeper. He was definitely wasn't good, but fucking Nicola Leali genuinely might be the worst goalkeeper Olympiacos has ever had, and that's a blast from like 8 years ago.
That has to be Costanzo.
Hmm?
Wasn't his name Costanzo? Am I thinking of someone else?
What year?
Let me look. Uh, yeah, isn't it him? Franco Costanzo. Yeah, Franco Costanzo.
What year? What years did he play for?
He was. Let's, if Transfermarkt wants to load up properly, he played for us in 2012 for
I
6 months.
I must have scrubbed that from memory.
I think you chose to scrap that from memory because he is being renowned as the worst keeper to have played for Olympiacos.
Maybe I just remember Lealdi, the Besiktas tie. We win that tie if he doesn't fucking give the ball to Abubakar in the first leg. We win that game, and I think we win that tie. And then in the second leg, he lets four in.
The Besiktas one. Yeah, my brain is clogged with what one you're talking
both
about.
both both of
Jesus
those legs,
Christ.
genuine. We conceded 5 in that tie. I think 4 of those goals were his fault. I mean,
Yeah,
anyways,
I barely remember that, but I remember it. And the second and main rant that I do, I did openly. I've done it before, but I did openly call people stupid. How are people calling for Mendy's head? How? How do people forget?
I mean, it's the same people who ran guys like Jose Sa out of town for one bad game, or we have a lot of reactionaries in our fan base, and we have for a
It's
long
not
time.
even a react because I have reacted wrongly many times, and I know that especially Masuras has been the target of a lot of those wrong reactions, and I've admitted that openly, even ever since having the show like not too long ago. But that's just lack of that's just stupidity.
I mean, again, I think it's head loss after a match. And listen, I won't say I haven't been there before. I think when I was younger, I used to be a lot like that. Um, but come on, I mean, nothing he did today. He set up the team as well as he could with the players he had, and very near. I mean, genuinely, I don't think it would have been out of place for us to get a point today. Like I think we played
On
for that.
Only thing that I can maybe see that he did wrong is that he was a bit late with the subs.
Yeah, that would be my main critique as well. I mean, I said at halftime I wanted Kostulas and Willian on for Garcia and Yaremchuk. I mean, he I think he did wait too long to hook Yaremchuk. He didn't do anything in the second half other than miss probably our best scoring opportunity. Um, yeah, I think part of that also goes back to just a lot of those guys, Willian, even Kostulas not playing a lot with the first team. His main concern there was probably, these guys aren't as integrated or as fit. Um, Maybe that won't be a problem going forward now that he's seen that Kostulas can play. Now that Willian again, I mean, I think Willian was positive today for a guy
He
who's
needs time.
yeah, I mean, he's getting fitness, but every game he's been in, he has made a difference. The team looks better when he
Yeah.
is on the pitch, so that says something. I think we're getting to a point where I'm hoping probably by next Thursday he starts. I think you give him some more time off the bench this weekend, and then I want to see him start on Thursday. That's
I'd
me.
start him on the weekend.
I don't know. I mean,
It's less risky if you think about it.
I don't
Also,
know.
Martins isn't playing, so he may be forced to
Yeah,
to start.
I would like to see either Costulas start, even on the wing. I think Costulas could play wing, or even give
Papacanelo.
right where I was about to go.
Yeah.
Papacanelos. I would like to see him. I mean, I was kind of disappointed he was left off the squad for today. Um, personally, I would still keep him on the bench, give him 30 minutes, 40 minutes to get his fitness up, and then unleash him against Braga. But you know, we'll see what Mendilibar does. He obviously knows best.
Yeah, of course. Atromitos follows, of course, as we said. Gonna be a weird one. Early kickoff. Do you know why the time got pushed back? Have you heard anything?
No, let me see.
It's at 6. You're probably missing it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this might be like a 4:30 a.m. Let me see what time. Oh no,
It's
it's 8 a.m. So I'll wake up for it.
yeah. Yeah, okay. You barely catch that, Jesus.
Yeah.
Your kickoff times are something.
Once the time changes here, and I think it's November, there's going to be a lot of Olympiacos matches that are going to be at 4 a.m. that I'm
Mm.
simply not going to be waking up for. I'll wake up that early if it's like the World Cup or something, just because that's only once every 4 years. But if it's a league match against fucking Olympiacos, I'm sorry, I'm not waking up at 4:30.
Absolutely not even. So yeah, I think the next one will be a post game against Atromitos, and hopefully a more positive one than the last three shows, because Jesus Christ, I don't think I can take a season of this.
I
Honestly,
I think we'll pick it back up. I mean, you know, the last time we had two really bad games in a row under Mendilibar, we win and beat Maccabi 6-1. I don't know if I need to remind anybody. Last season, we lost to Maccabi 4-1 at home. We lost to Panathinaikos 3-1 at home, back to back matches, and then after that, we went on a little run. So I wouldn't count us out. I think today was a positive performance. This team and this manager has shown us that they can come back from disappointment and turn it around in a big way. So starts with a win against Atromitos, and then I really think Braga we have to go out and try to kill them on Thursday because you don't want to let the heads drop.
there is for sure a lot to keep in today. I think that's about it, though. Nothing else to touch on. I didn't think, I never thought I'd say that that match against Atromitos would be unpredictable. But that's where we're at. No.
I personally I think that it'll be a comfortable win. I think after the last few games, I think that the team's going to need this. They're going to want this, and I think we'll turn it around.
Hopefully. But yeah, if you like what you see, everyone, of course, links down below. Like, subscribe. The show is flying up. I'm way close, but this rate, I will probably have passed 100 in the next 3, 4 months. It is insane, by the way. But yeah, that's about it. See you all in the next one.